Okay, audio check. Testing the audio. Audio check. Audio check. Testing the audio. Audio check. Welcome, everyone. We'll get started here in about 7 minutes. Great. Thank you, Isabel. Hi, Julia. Glad you're excited. Yes, Joseph, we're going to start right at the top of the hour. You have it. If you don't already have a beverage, get a beverage. I encourage you to get some water, coffee, tea, anything that will keep your mind engaged and energized. Personally, I like coffee, and I intend to drink some of it here before we get started, although I will probably not be drinking any during the presentation. If you choose to, like many of our previous participants, workshop participants, enjoy a wine or something like of that nature, we do certainly, we're happy for you to do that. Just ask sensible questions during the Q&A portion of our time. That's all we ask. Where's everybody from? Everybody here for the first time? Hi, Kevin. Hi, Carol. Too late to drink coffee for Jennifer. Yeah, well, coffee doesn't do too much to me these days. I have 3 small children, so I think I'm somewhat perpetually tired. Specifically, one of them's not that small, but 7-year-old, 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Donna. Oh, wow, very cool. Got a lot of people. From first time, okay, good, a lot of first timers. People from Texas, New Hampshire, all over the place. Very cool. Colorado, Ohio. Again, we're going to get started here in about 4 minutes. So please feel free to run to the restroom, get a glass of water, coffee, tea, whatever your beverage of choice. Again, we'll get started here in about 4 minutes. Hi, Pamela from Michigan. I'm also in Michigan, and as it turns out, my wife's name is also Pamela. Are you a Pamela who goes by Pamela or a Pamela who goes by Pam? You notice I didn't ask anybody else that similar question. That's because my wife goes by Pamela. She does not go by Pam. Okay, everything's looking good on my end. Check our number of people. Okay, yeah, looking good. We're about on target. Maybe a little behind the 8 ball. Got people are joining in here pretty quickly. 33, 52, okay. All right, great. Great. All right, Pamela goes by Pam, for those who are wondering. Let's see, somebody asked how long this was. We got a Pamela who goes by Susie, okay. The presentation's about an hour, so I'll cover that again. Mark would like to know if I'm a CFP. I am not a CFP. CFP is a nice generalist designation. I'm a chartered retirement planning counselor as well as an accredited portfolio management advisor. But no, not the CFP. As it turns out, I don't necessarily need to know about how much umbrella insurance you need. It's not a useless thing to know, but in any case. Okay. All right, cool. People from all over the place. Great. Got about a minute till start time, so if you have any last things you want to do, go ahead and run and do that. Looks like we're a little slow on people joining in. We're expecting around 300 people in total between YouTube and Facebook. Not too far off, but numbers a touch on the low side compared to where we normally are by this time. So occasionally we have some issues with text messages going out on time, so I want to give people a chance to get settled in here before we get cruising. May slightly delay our start time. Hesitant to do that, but maybe slightly. Oh, I just had a big jump. Lots of people just joined in. Okay, all right, so it looks like we're doing good. Give me 1 second, we'll get started here in just a minute. Welcome everyone. My name's Kyle McCauley. I'm one of the national presenters here at Einstein Retirement Workshops. And you are in attendance to our most popular presentation that we do. Social Security filing strategies, how to ensure you get the most out of your Social Security retirement benefits. This is our most popular presentation. Einstein Retirement Workshops is a national educational organization. At one time we used to fly around the country and we'd maybe see you in a local community center, a library, something like that, university. But today we now do our events in this live stream format. Thanks to COVID and other travel restrictions and all of that. We have made the transition to doing these virtually, and frankly, since making that transition, we've been able to interact with so many more people, and frankly, many of you probably are not in a location that we were going to be in person, and so now we're able to reach out and help many more folks than we could prior to the pandemic and all of those lockdowns when we were seeing you face to face. So we're honored that you're here, and we're very excited. We've now had more than 100,000 people register to attend one of our events. It was a milestone mark for us. We were excited about that, and so we're glad that you're here again. Okay, let's cover our agenda. As soon as I can get all my tech to work correctly. Click, there we go. All right, I think we're on a roll. We're going to spend a little more than an hour on the topic of Social Security. At the end of that hour time period together, we're going to do two things. Number one, we're going to talk about how you get access to our Social Security filing workbook. We know that many of you are anticipating receiving that, and we want to make sure that you're able to get your copy. So we will talk about how you can request that. Number two, we will go right into a Q&A portion of our time together. So at the end of today's presentation, after we talk about how to get the workbook, we're also going to share with you an opportunity for you to ask questions. So you'll simply put it in the chat portion as you saw. I'm sure many of you saw me highlighting comments and things. I'll do the exact same thing during the Q&A. You'll type in your question. I can highlight it just as I did, and then I'll answer your questions. I'll try to answer just as many as I can. We are expecting a big crowd tonight, so do make sure you get your question in if you have one, because I unfortunately do not always get to answer every question, but I'll do my best. Okay, my name is MCCauley. In addition to being a national presenter at Einstein Retirement Workshops, I am also the managing partner of City Center Financial. And I share my background with you just so you have an understanding of the focus and the background and experience that I have when I do this presentation. So City Center Financial is a retirement planning firm. And in addition to that, I am a chartered retirement planning counselor, an accredited portfolio management advisor, and also the only nationally accredited Social Security educational designation, a National Social Security Advisor certified professional. And every advisor associated with our organization has that accreditation. So I share that with you again just so you have an understanding that when I do this presentation, I am sharing with you really the experiences of many folks that we have helped make good, high-quality Social Security filing decisions within the context of their retirement plans. So Social Security is not its own thing that just sits over here. It's something that needs to be integrated into a retirement planning discussion and decision-making process, and I think you'll see that pretty well as we go through today's presentation. Now, the purpose of our conversation today is not to sign you up for Social Security. Okay, we're not affiliated with the Social Security Administration. We're not employed by them. The purpose of our conversation today is to give you advice about your Social Security benefits, advice that we think you'll find very practical because it comes from our experience in helping many folks just like you make these decisions. Now, we are allowed to give you this advice because of our registered investment advisory firm, City Center Advisors. Why is Social Security such a hot topic? Well, every day, about 10,000 baby boomers turn 65. So Medicare age, Social Security ages are coming up. That's about 70,000 people a week, turns into 3.64 million new folks on an annual basis. So that's still going to continue for another 13 years, and it's been going on for about 7. So we have a lot of people in our country, and you're a part of this group, who are no longer paying into the Social Security system. You're actually now retiring and drawing benefits out of the system. You are a large group of people who used to pay taxes in to the Social Security system, and now those dollars are not going in, they're coming out. So what does that mean? Well, it makes people certainly worry about things like insolvency. Will there be a benefit that remains for me? Am I actually going to get my money out of this system? And so we'll talk about that. Now, in terms of what Social Security means to you, 65% of middle-income Americans derive more than 50% of their retirement income from their Social Security benefits. Now, that is true for those who have done a good job of working and saving and accumulating other forms of retirement income, as well as those who haven't. Now, obviously, those who haven't, Social Security is going to be the primary source of income. But even if you've accumulated pension benefits or put money into 401k plans or brokerage accounts or whatever types of savings you have, even for you, Social Security often will make up a sizable portion of your total retirement income. I've done this live enough to know that if we were in a room together and I asked for a show of hands, how many of you were told at some point in your life, don't plan on Social Security? I'm pretty confident that many of your hands, if not all of your hands, would go up. But the benefits are here, and in many cases they can be quite good. It is not uncommon for us to see married couples between the two of them to be $40,000, $50,000. We sometimes see benefits combined $60,000 to $80,000 in combined annual benefits for a married couple. So not only are the benefits here, but in many cases the benefit payments can be quite good. Now, since 1985, pensions have been going away. They've been frozen. Unfortunately, we've seen benefits where people are already taking income and those benefits get cut. Okay, we don't like that, but it does happen. And so that has enhanced the need for that Social Security benefit and the value of that Social Security benefit. Also, 46% of Americans today pass away with less than $10,000 to their name. Why do we highlight that statistic? Well, the way you should frame in your Social Security benefits, when you frame in what do these dollars really mean to me, how are they going to impact me over my lifetime? The way you should think about it and framing it into your retirement plans is as retirement income insurance, or you could say longevity insurance. Why would that be important? Well, you insure all the important financial things in your life. You insure your house, your car, your health. Do you insure your retirement? Yes, you do. Social Security is a form of retirement income insurance. Even that person who passes away with less than $10,000 to their name, so long as they qualified and they're still living, they are still receiving that Social Security check. Social Security benefits pay to you no matter how long you live. That could be pretty important these days because people are living much longer than they ever expected to. Married couples, age 65, your life expectancy is not the average life expectancy, it's much longer. Gentlemen, you have a 50% chance of living to 92, and ladies, you have a 50% chance of living to 97. You know, my grandparents are a very good example of this. My granddaddy passed away at the age of 92, okay, right on life expectancy. Now, what about him causes me to say that he's a great example of people living much longer than they expected? Well, he had 4 heart attacks and 3 bypass surgeries before the age of 75. If you had asked him at 80, hey, granddaddy, you think you'll live to 90? He'd have smiled and said, I don't think so. But mostly because of my granny, who's still living, she's 92 now, he lived, okay? He kept going, and he made it all the way to age 92. Now, I don't know if you can live as long as this gal, but this is Ms. Kane Tanaka. She's 118 years of age, and she's from Japan. Interestingly, of the last 5 oldest living people, 4 of them were from Japan. So really, if you're thinking about relocating, I would recommend that you might consider Japan. Okay, we're going to talk about some basics about how your benefits work, how they're calculated. We'll talk about strategies for those of you who are married, options for those of you who are divorced, options that you might want to consider if you're widowed. And then if you fall asleep somewhere in the middle, please do wake up in time for taxes. I can tell you, our organization has now helped thousands of people make very high quality Social Security filing decisions. If there is one single item that will take 2 strategies that kind of look, pretty close, if I file this way, it kind of has a little advantage here or this way, but they're really kind of the same. But if there's one single thing that will change our mind, it is taxes. And unfortunately, it's not a simple issue, it's a complicated issue, so I do want to make sure we spend enough time on that to give you some guidance and help. Let's talk about some basics of how your Social Security benefits work, how they're calculated. In order to qualify for a Social Security benefit, you need to have 40 credits. 40 credits works out to 10 years worth of work because you can earn 4 credits per year one per calendar quarter, and any quarter of the year where you have earned at least $1,470. Okay, now that's an increased amount. 20 years ago is, I don't know, 700 something. I mean, it does increase year over year. What considers substantial earnings, not that substantial. But the point is that most people, if they have 10 years of work, have the 40 credits. Okay, now if you're not sure, if you're close, maybe you have exactly 10 years and you're not sure if you have all 40 credits or something like that, all you have to do is you go to ssa.gov, the Social Security Administration's website, and you sign up for a portal at My Social Security. This is a very wise thing to do for two reasons. One, you can file for benefits online, and for most people that is the simplest, most straightforward way to do it. Number two, you can check your earnings history every year, which you should do. There's a statute of limitations for getting your earnings history corrected. If there's a mistake, and I know you'll all be very shocked by this, but mistakes always seem to go against you, not for you, okay? So if there's a mistake there, you do want to get it corrected as soon as possible. So you can check your earnings history annually. The third reason is that if you're not sure if you have your benefit, that one of the first things you'll see is a few green bars, and they'll be filled up. And if they're filled up all the way, you get a nice green check mark at the end. It tells you you have qualified for a benefit. Now, once you've qualified for a Social Security benefit, the way that your benefit is actually calculated is by using the highest 35 years of indexed earnings. Few things about this. Number one, it is not the most consecutive 35 years. It is not the most recent 35 years. It's the highest 35 years no matter when they occurred. So working 20 years, taking 10 years off, working another 15, you got your 35. No big deal. That gap in the middle does not make any difference. The other thing is it's the highest 35 years after those years have been indexed for inflation, meaning that the dollars that you earned in years gone by, they're not using that number as the number to calculate your benefit. The number that they're using to calculate your benefit is that number after it's been increased or indexed for inflation. To know what your numbers in the past are worth in the benefit calculation today, you need an indexing table. Okay, inside of the Social Security filing workbook that we will be sending to you, and we'll talk about again how to get that at the end of the presentation. In that workbook, we will have some indexing tables. What you can do is you can take the years of earnings that you have, so page 3 of your statement, your Social Security statement, you will have those earnings years, that earnings history table. You can take those years, plug it into your indexing table, and you can see what they're worth in today's dollars for your benefit calculation. An example of this would be, excuse me, the year 1980. In 1980, if you had, let's say, an income of $20,000, what you would see when you put that on the indexing table is that you should multiply that by 4 and change, meaning $20,000 in 1980 is worth a little more than $80,000 in today's dollars. So, if you're working today, and hypothetically in the past, that is your lowest income year. Let's say you've cut back or something, or your income's gone down, and you're earning $60,000. Will $60,000 to earn today replace $20,000 earned in 1980? No, it will not. Okay, so your work today only increases your Social Security benefit in the future if it's replacing a lower income year in the past. Now, your work today is not hurting you, okay? It's not decreasing your benefit, it's just not increasing it. The second thing is that if you do not have all 35 years, then the way Social Security calculates your benefit is they take whatever years you have, let's say you have 20 years, they index them for inflation, and then they add in 15 zeros when they calculate your benefit. So any additional work that you're doing today is replacing a 0 and should have a pretty good size impact in terms of increasing your benefit down the road. There are two major provisions which can reduce your Social Security benefit. They both apply in the scenario where you have what is called a non-covered pension. A non-covered pension is a pension that you're entitled to from an employer where you did not pay into the Social Security system. If you have a pension like that, that pension is non-covered. When you receive the dollars from the pension, if you also worked in a job where you had Social Security, when you also then try to receive Social Security, the amount of the pension can affect the, not the amount of the pension, the number of years of outside work outside of that non-covered pension job will affect how much your Social Security gets reduced by. That provision is called the windfall elimination provision. There are calculations on this in your workbook. I don't have them memorized, okay, so I can't give you a good example right off the top of my head. The other one is easier, the government pension offset. If you have a non-covered pension, you do not have your own Social Security benefit, but you are entitled to, say, an ex-spousal benefit or a spousal benefit, then when you file for the pension and also those spousal benefits, 2/3 of your pension will reduce Social Security. Now, that can push that benefit to a negative number or at least zero, okay? So if you hit zero or a negative number, you don't get anything from Social Security. If, though, you have the windfall elimination provision scenario, it can never go to zero, but it could be a very reduced amount, okay, depending on how many years of substantial earnings you have. Again, calculations for both of those are in your workbook. Now, the next thing that I should say about this is that there is currently actively being worked on in Congress right now legislation to eliminate both of those provisions. So, if you're affected by them, you might want to look into that and maybe petition your congressperson to get on board. Okay, I think you know this, but if you don't, you've paid a lot of money into the Social Security system. 6.2% of your pay has been going into the system over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years you've been working. Your employer paid the other half of that for 12.4% of your pay. Unless you're self-employed, then you got to pay both. And so I think if you could imagine an account somewhere with your name on it with 12.4% of your pay in it, that might be a lot of money. Now, maybe I'm preaching to the choir because you're here, but that sizable amount of money is yours. It's worth doing planning to maximize what you get out of this system. I don't mind saying that I feel that the Social Security Trust Fund has been a little bit negligent with what they've done with your dollars. They loan it to our government through Treasury bills. That's how they get their interest. And wouldn't you know it, Treasury bills lag behind other investment instruments in terms of their performance and interest rates. So have they done a fiduciary duty and level of job with your dollars at the Social Security Trust Fund? Debatable. And so it's worth doing your planning, your due diligence to maximize what you get out of this system. Excuse me, you have earned these benefits. Unfortunately, it is not as though you have an account at Social Security with your dollars in it. The way the system works is as a pay-as-we-go system. What does that mean? Well, right now it means we're operating in the red, because dollars flowing into Social Security right now are leaving Social Security to pay current recipients. That plan is good through the year 2035. The GAO does an analysis every year, and they say so far good through 2035. And in 2036, we're funded roughly 75 cents on the dollar thereafter. So that means in 2036, all of your Social Security checks will be cut by 25%, right? No. Here's what they do to fix Social Security. You all know this, okay? I'm not telling you something that if you thought about it for a second, you wouldn't know. what they do to fix Social Security, and maybe I should put air quotes around that, is they reduce benefits for future recipients. You all have reduced benefits compared to your parents. Your parents had a full retirement age of 65. You all, the oldest of you, have a full retirement age of 66. It means you have to wait longer to get your max benefit. Okay? There are many of you who have a full retirement age of 66 and some number of months. 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. Okay? And then there are some of you who are young enough to have a full retirement age of 67. That process of moving from 65 to 66 and then all the way up to 67, and with all the iterative months, is based upon the desire from Social Security to fix a shortfall. We would be out of money by now if they hadn't done that. But here's the problem. It's not good enough. So what does that mean? It means they're going to do something like that to your children and grandchildren. Okay, the Social Security system cannot remain as it is to stay fully funded, and they are required to stay fully funded. So they'll fix the system again, and what it will mean is some version of a reduction in benefits for your children and grandchildren. Again, the system is as pay as we go. So your children and grandchildren are going to pay for the dollars that you're receiving so long as they have gainful employment. Now, I know that many of you do have a full retirement age of 66 and some number of months. Some of you are 67. But just for ease of explanation, we're going to assume for a minute that all of you have a full retirement age of 66. If you file for benefits at your full retirement age, you are eligible for 100% of what is known as your primary insurance amount. If you're not sure what that is, you can, again, go to ssa.gov, download a copy of your statement, and that big bold number in the upper right corner of your statement, front page, is your estimated primary insurance amount. If that number said $2,000 and you file for benefits at your full retirement age, you should receive 100% of that, or $2,000. You're allowed to file early. You can file as early as the age of 62. If you do file at 62, you will receive a reduced amount. It'll be reduced by 25%, turning a $2,000 benefit into $1,500. If you would like, you're also allowed to delay past full retirement age and earn what are known as delayed retirement credits. The delayed retirement credits are 0.8% per month, or 8% a year, and you can turn a $2,000 a month benefit into $2,640 if you delay as late as 70. Now, you are allowed to delay past the age of 70, but there's nothing in it for you, okay? They're not giving you any increases if you delay longer. Both the increases and decreases actually happen on a monthly schedule, not an annual schedule. We often talk about them as an annual schedule, but it's actually monthly that we see those increases or decreases. There are 3 distinct benefits you can file for. The first one is a retired worker's benefit. This is a benefit that you're entitled to based upon your own work history. Another benefit you can file for is a spousal benefit or an ex-spousal benefit. These are benefits that you're entitled to based upon that spouse or ex-spouse's work history. Widow or survivor benefits are benefits that you're entitled to based upon a deceased spouse or a deceased ex-spouse's work history. The last time Social Security law was changed was in October of 2015, and basically that law change took away all the fun stuff. So if you've ever heard of things like file and suspend, get a lump sum check, basically all of that is gone, with one exception. If you were born before January 2nd of 1954 and you have not yet filed for a benefit, and you are entitled to a spousal or ex-spousal benefit, you can do what is called a restricted application, file for those benefits, and then switch to your own at a later date. This group is getting smaller and smaller every year, so I'm not going to spend any more time on it now, but if you have questions, please let me know in the Q&A. For that group, as well as everyone else, there's really just a couple of things you want to keep in mind when you're filing your Social Security benefits. Number one, you are allowed to suspend your benefits at any time for any reason. Now, why would you ever start a benefit, start receiving the money, and then say, wait, hold on, stop, I don't want to receive the money anymore? Well, consider this scenario. You're laid off from a job. You think, well, I guess I'm retired. And so you go ahead and you file for Social Security. You start receiving some dollars. And then a friend of a friend who knows somebody says, hey, we got a job, I think you'd be good at it. And you take a look, you say, great, looks good to me. Now you are re-employed. You have Social Security. You have employment income. You don't really need the Social Security. Well, you are allowed to suspend benefits if you would like, and simply allow the Social Security to get back on its growth track. So now it will grow, and you'll be able to earn any delayed retirement credits you're entitled to from the point of suspension till as late as age 70. If you're older than 70, never suspend your benefit. There's nothing in it for you. It won't do anything. Now, if you suspend benefits and you're within the first 365 days from your date of filing, you can, one time only, rescind your application and reset your benefits as though you never filed. In order to do that, you must pay back any dollars you've received up until that point in order for Social Security to reset those benefits. So that could be a tough thing to do if maybe you've received 10 months of benefits. Maybe it's not so tough if you just received a couple of months, but it is an option. They'll reset the benefit as though you never filed. Let's talk about spousal benefits. In order to qualify for a spousal benefit, you need to have been married for at least 1 year. Also, the spouse that you are filing on must have filed their benefit. This is a deemed filing rule. The deemed filing rule says that whoever you're filing on must have filed theirs for you to receive your spousal. If my wife and I are the same age, we're close, she's a little older, but close enough. We're the same age. She has a $2,000 a month benefit. Let's say I don't have a work history. I would like to file based upon her work history, but if she hasn't filed yet, I can't file. In order for me to file, she also has to file. Now, if she has a $2,000 benefit, I'm thinking half of that, half of her primary insurance amount, or $1,000 for my spousal benefit. But what happens in the scenario where I have my own benefit that's $1,200? Well, I do not get any spousal. $1,200 is more than 50% of her $2,000 or $1,000, and so it's not like I can get some of my own, part of the spousal, none of that stuff. Okay? If my own is higher, I just don't worry about the spousal benefits. Now, it's up to 50% of my spouse's primary insurance amount, not the benefit she's receiving. So, if she files early, say at 62, and is getting $2,000 a month, but I file at my full retirement age, I still get a full $1,000. On the flip side of that, if she delays till 70 and is getting $2,640, there's no increases there for me. It's 50% of the primary insurance amount, then modified by my age. Now, the thing about my age is that for spousal benefits, there are no delayed retirement credits. So if my spouse files delayed at 70, $2,640 is what she's getting, but I still only get $1,000. You see, the 100% doesn't change. So it's not half of what she's getting. It's half of her primary insurance amount modified by my age. Now, the other thing is that spousal benefits reduce at a faster rate than your own benefit. If I have my own work history and I have $1,000 a month in a benefit and I file at 62, I'm getting $750. But if it's not my own work history, it's my spouse's, I'm not getting $750, I only get $700. So if you want to think about it like extra penalties for spouses who file early, maybe that's a fair way to say it. Now, the other thing is no delayed retirement credits on spousal benefits. If I have my own benefit of $1,000, I can turn it into $1,320. I can't do that with spousal benefits. Here's a very common scenario. I have my own benefit, $500 a month. My spouse has a $2,000 a month benefit. She wants to delay till 70 to get $2,640. What should I do? I should start my own benefit at my full retirement age, collect $500 a month, and then when she files at 70, I'll get the bump up from the $500 to the full $1,000. Married couples, when one of you passes away, only one benefit remains, and it's always the higher of the two. In the scenario where my wife passes away, okay, she's got $2,000, I have $1,000. My wife passes away, I say goodbye to my $1,000, I keep her $2,000. If I pass away, I take my $1,000 with me, she keeps her $2,000. Only one benefit remains, it's always the higher of the two. Now the only caveat to this that could get an increase is in the scenario where the higher wage earner files early. If the higher wage earner files early, say at 62, they're getting 75% of their benefit. But the 82.5% rule says that a surviving spouse can get no less than 82.5% of that primary insurance amount. So if my wife had filed early at 62, she's getting $1,500. If she predeceases me, I'm not stuck at the $1,500. I get a little bump up to $1,650, 82.5%. Two most common mistakes we see married couples make. Number one comes from the proper view of your Social Security benefits in your retirement planning decision-making process. Longevity insurance, or again, retirement income insurance. If any spouse is going to delay, it's going to be that higher wage earner. Sometimes we will see the higher wage earner filing early, and what risk that creates is that it could shortchange a surviving spouse. So, if let's say I file early and then I predecease my wife, and then I'm 75 when I pass, and then she lives to 95, we're talking about 20 years of a very small Social Security check rather than a much larger Social Security check. And again, it's only one check. Her benefit completely goes away. So we have to bear in mind that if anyone is going to do any delaying on their Social Security, it's going to be that higher wage earner, because that will be the survivor benefit. So we'd like for that benefit to be as high as it can reasonably be. Now the other mistake comes from our experience in just running tons of analyses for folks. It almost never works out for both spouses to delay past full retirement age. Generally speaking, one spouse will file early to some degree or another, and the other spouse will delay to some degree or another. Let's talk about divorced spouse benefits. In order to qualify for a divorced spouse benefit, you need to have been married for 10 years in a row to the same person. Okay. Married 7 years, divorced. Remarried even to the same person, 5 years, divorced. 7 plus 5 does not equal 12. One of those two stints has to be at least 10 years. So I know none of you got on here for marriage counseling, but if you needed a reason to hang on, there you go. All right, you may not be currently married. If you have a marriage that lasted for more than 10 years and you're thinking, gosh, maybe I'd like to file on that ex-spousal benefit, but you are remarried, say goodbye to those divorced spouse benefits. You just are going to be eligible for your own or your new spousal benefits. Same benefit amounts in terms of extra decreases for filing early and no increases for delaying apply to ex-spousal benefits, as did spousal. The one major difference between ex-spousal benefits and spousal benefits is the independently entitled clause, meaning if you've been divorced for at least 2 years, you are eligible to file for ex-spousal benefits regardless of whether your ex filed for their benefit. So in all the examples I gave earlier, if my wife hadn't filed yet, I can't file on her. But if the benefits that are being filed for are not spousal benefits, we've been divorced for 2 years, let's say, and I want to file those ex-spousal benefits, it doesn't matter when she files. I can file on my own timetable. If you were born before January 2nd of 1954 and you have not yet filed for a benefit and you had a marriage that lasted more than 10 years, the restricted application could be particularly advantageous to you. Okay, one goofy thing about ex-spousal benefits. If you can manage to fit a few 10-year marriages in your lifetime and those ex-spouses happen to be younger than you, and you hit 62 and you start with your own Social Security, a few years go by, they hit 62 and their benefits more than yours, you can switch and get a higher amount. A couple more years go by, that other ex-spouse hits 62 and theirs is even higher. You can switch again. As many times as you can conjure up that scenario, you can do it. Common questions we hear from those who are divorced. Number one, I'm divorced. My ex is going to file off of me. Will that affect me in some way? No, it will not. I'm divorced. My ex is going to file off of me. I'm also remarried and my new spouse is going to file off of me. Will their benefits affect each other? No, they will not. I'm divorced and I've managed to fit a few 10-year marriages in my lifetime. They're going to all file off of me. I'm remarried. She's going to file off of me too, and I'm going to die young. No, okay, just kidding. All right. So, yes, it's allowed. Okay, all these people could be filing off of you. And yes, in fact, if you do happen to die young, maybe too much stress or something, then yes, they can all get widow benefits as well. All right. Next common question. I'm divorced. I'm going to file off of my ex. Are they going to know that I've done that? No, they will not. The only way for them to know is if you tell them. It doesn't affect them. Social Security does not notify them. Okay, let's talk about widow benefits. In order to qualify for a widow benefit, you need to be only 60 years old. Widows are a special group. They're the only group who can file as early as the age of 60. But there is a little caveat. If you were widowed prior to reaching the age of 60, you must remain unmarried until you hit the age of 60 in order for those widow benefits to be retained. Very first workshop I ever did, gal in the back raised her hand during the Q&A and said, "So it sounds like I need to delay the wedding." Yeah, well, in her case, it was kind of a big deal. So let me lay out her scenario. This was a June workshop. Wedding was coming up in September. She was 59 years of age. She did not turn 60 until March of the following year. If she remarried in September, no widow benefits available to her. Her widow benefit was pretty nice, about $1,900, okay? Just under $2,000. If she remarries, that widow benefit's not available, which means the only thing that's available to her is at age 62, either her own or her new spousal benefit. The higher of the two happened to be her new spousal, and it would have been just under $1,500. Not a bad spousal. Also, but here's the catch. She has to wait 2 years to get $500 a month less. So yeah, we did recommend maybe she wants to put the wedding off. Now, I'm a religious person, so I think this is funny. You could decide for yourself. She did go to her priest and said, so can we just, do the religious part of things and sign stuff later? And the priest said, no. I said, there's got to be another priest, but she's very devout. The wedding was delayed. All right, you have to be married a minimum of 9 months prior to the death of your spouse in order for widow benefits to be attained. This provision is here only to prevent deathbed marriages. It's not here to hurt people. So, if you have a scenario where the death was some unexpected cause, you can get an exception. Only real life example I've ever run into, so it's not too common, but I have run into one real life example with this. Gal was married later in life. Husband was in the armed forces. He was shipped overseas, killed in action. They'd been married just less than 6 months. Again, it wasn't as though he had a terminal illness or some known reason why he would be passing, so we submitted proper documentation and the widow benefits were reopened. Another widow case study. Widows do have the most options in terms of how they can file, so we want to look at a case study of Jane, who's trying to figure out what to do about her widow benefits. We met Jane at one of our workshops, live workshops, and she was 59 years of age when John passed. John passed at 64. We never met John. She was 60 years old when she attended one of our workshops. Now, John has his own benefit of $2,150 at his full retirement age. Jane does have her own work history for $1,197 a month beginning at the age of 62. So what should Jane do? Well, the one thing that we would often see is that, John's passed, he had some income, so Jane's thinking, gosh, I could use some extra income. So she might be tempted to go and just file for those widow benefits and start collecting $1,537 a month. So she can't get the full amount if she files that early. It'll be reduced, okay? It's reduced down to $1,537. If she receives that from age 60 to age 85 with no cost of living increases, it's $461,000 over her lifetime. Not bad, right? Maybe she needs those dollars. But the real Jane was still working, okay? The real Jane was not yet ready to retire. John had recently passed. She wasn't ready to make any big changes. So the real Jane is going to keep working for a couple more years. When she decides to retire, she actually is going to be eligible for her own work history, and she can file for that starting at 62, $1,197 a month. She can collect that till she hits full retirement age and then switch to widow benefits. If she does it, she goes from $1,197 up to $2,150, and the benefits increases over her lifetime is more than $77,000. So that's a good deal. This is what the real Jane is probably going to do. Again, no cost of living increases in these numbers. Okay, the other option that Jane could consider is, let's say she wasn't going to keep working. She was ready to retire. Well, in that scenario, she's only 60, so she would have to start with John's if she wants to file for a benefit. If she does, she'll get that $1,537, but we can't forget about Jane's work history. See, Jane has her own work history where her benefit will increase all the way up to full retirement age and then earn those delayed retirement credits to 70, so that by 70, her benefit is worth $2,108 a month. If she does it like this, it's more than $100,000 more over her lifetime for understanding and knowing what her options are. As you could imagine, if she starts with the widow benefits, she will not get a phone call at 70 from Social Security saying, hello, Jane. Yes, by the way, we'd like to make sure that you understand that you should switch and file for more money. Yeah, that phone call's not going to show up. I know you're all amazed to hear that, but it's not. Okay, she has to know to do it. Now, I am always struck by this $400,000, $500,000 number, non-inflation adjusted. Okay, you throw some inflation on there. You take not a single person, but a married couple. Okay, it is not uncommon for us to see these numbers up over $1 million, sometimes as much as $2 million in lifetime benefits. I don't know how that makes you feel, but for many of us, this Social Security filing decision could be one of the single biggest financial decisions that you ever make. So I'm probably preaching to the choir because you're here. I'm grateful that you're here. But do the planning, right? Do the planning to maximize what you get out of this system. Now, you are allowed to work and file for benefits. The reason why Jane, in our scenario that we were just looking at, if she was going to keep working, was not going to file for those widow benefits is because of this provision. It's called the earnings test. Whenever you file for Social Security benefits prior to reaching your full retirement age, you have to deal with the earnings test. The earnings test in this year says the first $18,960 of earned income, W-2, 1099, self-employment, earned income, we don't care. Social Security says we don't care about that. But the minute you go above $18,960 of income, Social Security starts caring. How much do they care? Well, they care about $1 for every 2 above the limit. So, here's how it works mathematically. Let's assume for a minute that you have an income of $58,960. Seems like an odd number, but the math is easy and you'll see that. At $58,960, Social Security says we don't care about the first $18,960, so you just take that off the top. It leaves us with $40,000 above the limit. Now it's a 1 for 2, right? So one for 2 is what they will take, and so we lose half of it. So now that means that you are ineligible to receive $20,000 of your Social Security. If the benefit you're filing for is a $2,000 a month benefit, and you're filing with an income of $58,960, and you are younger than your full retirement age, then here's how this works. $2,000 goes into $20,000 10 times. So you will not receive a benefit in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 2010 times. Then you will receive a $2,000 check in November and a $2,000 check in December. Some people mistakenly assume that if you go above these limits, you'll still get a check all year. It'll just reduce the amount you receive. No. They simply will not pay you anything until you have paid back what you were ineligible to receive. Now, the right side of this page almost never applies, but I'll cover it very briefly. In the year that you turn your full retirement age, but before you turn your full retirement age, your earnings test goes up to $50,250, and it's a 1 for 3 calculation above that. Let's talk about taxes. Once you hit your full retirement age, you can file Social Security, receive that, have an income, earned income, no problem. You just got to worry about taxes. Unfortunately, taxes is not a simple issue. This is publication 915. It's produced by the IRS every year to tell you everything you could possibly want to know about how you'll pay taxes on Social Security. It's a 33-page document. Why 33 pages? Because the IRS hates you. No, just, okay. Because it's needlessly a little complicated in how they set this up. Shocking, I know. Now, there are some helpful things in here. Maybe this is a little tongue-in-cheek, but they were helpful to me. And that's this worksheet. This worksheet details out for you the 19-step process that you must go through in order to determine how much tax you will owe on Social Security. Do not worry. What we will not do is go through all 19 steps today, okay? Maybe we'll do a special presentation on that. No, what we will do is we will cover some big picture, sort of high-level things that we think will be very helpful to you when you're thinking about how are taxes going to affect me and what should I have in mind when I'm making these decisions. Line 1 on this worksheet is the very most important number that you have to start with to start figuring out your taxes. That number is your provisional income. Provisional income is 3 items. Number 1, all of your taxable income, adjusted gross income. So earned income, pension income, dividend income, capital gains, long and short, interest income, we've got annuity income, all the sources, rental income, K-1s, everything. Okay, so you say, well, that's not a surprise, I get that. Number 2 stings a little bit. It is non-taxable interest, so your municipal bond interest income. Why do you buy municipal bonds? Because you don't want to pay tax. Well, they found a way to tap into it through the Social Security issue. Okay, so non-taxable interest counts towards provisional income. And the third one is 50% of the Social Security benefits you're receiving count towards your provisional income number. Now, I've done this live enough to hear people shout out things, probably reasonably so. Hey, that's double dipping, that sort of thing. And, I understand if you feel that way. But don't shoot the messenger, please. That is how it works. Okay, so those three items. If you are single and that provisional income number goes above $25,000, you start paying taxes on Social Security. If that provisional income number goes above $34,000, you could be paying tax on up to 85% of your benefits. If you're married and that provisional income number goes above $32,000, you start paying taxes on Social Security. If it's above $44,000, you could be paying tax on up to 85% of your benefits. So most of you are asking the question right now, okay, I get all that, but how much tax? 50% tax? 85%? No, not 50% or 85% tax. Here's where it gets complicated. All right, so again, bear with me. For those of you who are going, it's complicated enough. Sorry, it gets a little complicated here. Here's how this works. Let's say you're cruising along through retirement. You've got some pension dollars or withdrawals from a 401k. You've got your Social Security benefits coming in, but you're doing just fine, right? You got your income coming in, everything's going well, but you'd like to spend a little extra money this year. You're going to go on a trip. Okay, stuff's opening up. You feel good. You want to get out there. You want to go see something. You got a couple of bucket list items you've been hoping to do. So you're going to go on a trip, on a vacation. And so you start budgeting it out. And as you're budgeting things out, you're going to spend a good amount of money. You're going to enjoy that. Enjoy the trip. You're not going to go too crazy, but you'll spend $10,000 on this vacation. Okay, great. Now, you don't just have $10,000 lying around. You got to pull it from somewhere. So what do? You survey your accounts, right? You look at all your various accounts that you've accumulated, and you say, okay, where am I going to pull $10,000 from? And you see this 401k plan that you have. I mean, it's grown, the market's up, everything's going well. I'll pull it from there. I'll pull it from my 401k. Great. So what do? You call up your 401k and you say, yes, I'd like to pull $10,000, please. And they say, no problem. And then they ask you a very important question. They ask you, how much tax would you like to have withheld? Oh, yeah, right, taxes. Well, maybe you know, or you have to look at your tax return or whatever, okay, but you figure it out and you go, I'm in the 12% tax bracket, so I will withhold 12%, please. And they say, no problem. They send you your funds, you go on your trip, everything's great, and then March of next year rolls around and you are punching stuff into TurboTax or H&R Block Online or TaxAct or whatever your tax layer, whatever your tax software is, you're punching stuff in, and while you're doing that, there's a problem. TurboTax says you owe money. You never owe money. You always withhold enough. In fact, you're used to getting a little bit of a refund. Why does it say I owe money? Well, here's what happened. TurboTax is not wrong. When you took your distribution, that $10,000 from your 401k, what you didn't account for is that you were above these numbers. And so you added additional taxes to your Social Security. You didn't get more money from Social Security, you just added taxes to your Social Security. And $10,000 here, tax at 12%, plus $10,000 here, tax at 12%, you should have withheld 24%. Well, that's no fun. You had a nice trip. You want to only have fond memories. You don't want to be thinking about the tax bill you just accumulated, but okay, no big deal, right? But that's not the bad one. Here's the bad one. You're cruising along through retirement. Everything's going well, right? You're enjoying your retirement, you're pulling some money from your investments, you're living on Social Security, maybe some pension dollars, whatever you've got going on. And everything's going well. You're enjoying life. And then you hit this wonderful, magical age one day, the age of 72. At 72, you pick up what is known as a required minimum distribution. A required minimum distribution is required by law for you to pull from all of your 401k, 403b, 457, TIAAs, TSPs, IRAs, SEP IRAs, simple IRAs, all of the tax qualified accounts that you've accumulated. And many of you have done a great job of accumulating some dollars there. And many of you are going to do a great job or have already done a great job of helping to minimize some of your spending so you don't overspend. You don't want to put yourself at risk of running out of money. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're a burden to your family as you age and pick up medical expenses and all of that. So you go out of your way to get that spending down. And those 401k, IRA, 403b types of accounts grow. And then you retire, and they keep growing. And they grow so much that at the age of 72, when you must pull a distribution, those accounts are quite large. And the larger the account, the larger the mandatory distribution. So you begrudgingly, maybe a little bit, take your distribution. But, whoops, you're above these amounts. And the distribution is so large, and you're adding additional taxes from Social Security, and that's so much that now you're not in the 12% tax bracket anymore. Whoops, we went up to 22. Now it's not 12 and 12 is 24. It's 22 and 22 is 44. These are the kinds of tax mistakes that it's very important that you do the pre-planning necessary to avoid them. Let's look at a case study that highlights the importance of tax planning in retirement and when making Social Security decisions. See, Social Security is as much a tax planning decision as it is a longevity decision. Many people don't think about it like that, but if I could persuade you to think about it like that, you will be that much the wiser. Clients are 64 and 62. They have just over $34,000 in combined Social Security benefits beginning early at the age of 62. They're going to start their retirement with $752,000 in 401k and IRA accounts. They'll earn 6% on those accounts, and they'll spend $70,000 a year, increasing that by 3% to keep up with inflation. They will live to 86 and 89 respectively. There are three groups of you hearing this example. First group of you is saying, yeah, numbers are pretty close, maybe tweak this one or that one, but it's pretty close to me. Okay, so this example will be very meaningful to you, so hang tight. The next group of you is looking at these numbers and saying, 752,000? What happened? Didn't they have any kids? Okay, so look, if you're looking at this and you're saying, gosh, that seems like a lot of savings, then I need you to pay attention because this couple with $752,000 has a running out of money problem, and we're going to show how a Social Security decision can help save them from that. Now there's a third group of you. The third group of you is saying, yeah, I knew you were going to say they're going to run out of money, Kyle. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, they haven't saved enough. They got to keep working. They can't retire yet. So look, if that's you, if you're saying that, I need you to pay attention because this couple with only $752,000 has a tax problem. And there again, I'm going to show you how Social Security can help solve that. If this couple files Social Security early, you'll see the blue lines here, that's their Social Security benefits. Early on, it's covering about half of their total income need. It doesn't keep up with real inflation. I know you're all amazed to hear this, but the CPI-W index doesn't track real inflation very well, and so it typically lags behind the real spending goal. So you see that income is increasing, need is increasing by 3%, Social Security is only increasing by 2%. Again, historically, typically lags behind by 1%. Now, this couple funds the rest of their retirement income from their 401k assets. Those withdrawals are the orange lines, And the red line is the income target they need to hit. The amount of the orange lines above the red line is the amount that they're losing to taxes. What you're noticing correctly is that the taxes are not increasing linearly, they're increasing exponentially. That is because of that double taxation process I described a moment ago. As they go through retirement and they need to pull out more and more from their investment accounts, the taxes are doubling up. Unfortunately, that puts so much pressure on their investment portfolio that they run out of money 14 years too soon. This couple and many other folks could benefit from additional advanced tax planning. Roth conversion planning being a great one, maybe restructuring investment accounts to change the different types of income that you're generating. All of those are great planning strategies. However, we are not doing any advanced tax planning between this slide and the next slide. We want to make sure that you see the power of a Social Security filing strategy, both to increase portfolio longevity and also to save on taxes. The only difference between this slide and the next slide is a change in the Social Security filing decision. Let's take a look. If this couple in the early years gets all their income from those 401k accounts, these orange lines, see they pay a little bit more in taxes in those early years, but look at what happens once they trigger Social Security. Now, we didn't delay their retirement, we just changed how they got their income. Their Social Security benefits cover more than 75% of their income need. There's a little bit of orange above the red, but not much. It's not uncommon when we do pre-planning for folks to get them in a position where they pay very little and sometimes even no taxes once they trigger those Social Security benefits. It takes all that pressure off their portfolio so that their portfolio lasts the rest of their life. If we compare the taxes side by side, you can see that by optimizing Social Security, the blue lines, they pay a little bit more in taxes in those early years. But look at all these excess taxes, the orange lines above the blue lines, the excess taxes that are being paid simply for filing Social Security early. Now, eventually they stop paying taxes, but they're broke, so it's not a good deal. Okay, 3 big wins by optimizing Social Security. Number one, they get more money out of Social Security, $186,000. Their portfolio lasts 14 more years, and even though they were broke and not paying any taxes for 14 years, they still managed to save $35,000 in taxes by optimizing Social Security. A few things about your Social Security statement. Number one, your Social Security statement is a snapshot in time, okay? There are no cost of living adjustments applied to it. It's just, here's what we're showing you in today's dollars. The statement assumes that you work all the way to 62, retire, file immediately. Or you work all the way to full retirement age, retire, file immediately. Or you work all the way to 70, retire, file immediately, okay? If you retire at 65 and then wait to take your benefits till 70, that's not on your statement. It could be a little off for that reason. It's your work history only, no spousal coordination, no widow benefit coordination, and then certainly and obviously no advice. So look, after hearing our presentation today, you may or may not feel that you could use a more individualized, specified analysis or look at your Social Security filing decisions. I hope I've made the reasonable case today that making a Social Security decision in a vacuum, not considering its impact on your taxes, not considering its impact on your investments and your total retirement planning success rate, I hope I've made a good case for why that's not a reasonable way to think about this. If you are imagining, okay, if you're saying to yourself, gosh, I can't even imagine trying to make a Social Security decision without factoring in my taxes or my investments, then I think we're of exactly the same mind. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to offer to you today. Okay, we're going to talk in just a minute how to get your Social Security filing workbook. But as a part of that, if you would like to request it, you can also request this free analysis, complimentary analysis, okay? No cost. So we've got too much free stuff, right? We've got a free analysis that will help you make a good Social Security decision. We got a free workbook. I don't think you paid anything to be here for this workshop. I hope you found it to be fun and entertaining and helpful. But we got too much free stuff, Kyle. What's going on? Okay, many of you are asking that quite reasonably. So let me just sort of pull the curtain back, if you will. We believe that this analysis is sort of like, well, okay, back before the pandemic. I don't know, I haven't been to Costco lately. It's been a few weeks. I think my wife went most recently. I didn't ask her. But back before the pandemic, the only saving grace of Costco on the weekends was the samples, right? Otherwise, it's just a madhouse. You hate being there. You ask yourself, why did I come here today? The lines extend forever. You know, you're just going, this is not worth it. But the one thing that kind of makes it nice on the weekends at Costco is that they give you samples, right? So my favorite sample, the one that caused me to actually buy something, was the grass-fed beef bratwurst. Okay, so I really enjoyed that, and I buy it now. I pretty much almost every time I go, I buy a package of the grass-fed beef bratwurst. But that was the whole point, right? They didn't just give out a sample just to give out a sample. They did it in the hopes that I would say, hey, that's pretty good, and I'll buy it. Okay, they feel the same way about you and everybody else there. So we view this like a sample. This analysis does a very nice job of giving you some insight, a way to evaluate what's the value of Kyle, City Center Financial, the Einstein Retirement folks. What is the value of the work that they do? Is it something that could even help me? Well, we put our best foot forward. We give you an opportunity to evaluate it, okay, to get a sample. This sample is our Social Security analysis. If you think a Social Security analysis could be helpful to you and you'd like to sample it and see what's going on, let me tell you a little bit about what's inside. First of all, specified strategies specific to your situation. We will lay out line by line, here's how you want to file, exactly when you want to do it, what does it mean for your benefits, how much you're going to get, what are the different timelines, and how much in benefits are you going to receive over your lifetime. We'll do all that for you. Also, we'll take a look at multiple options. If you file this way, how does it work? If you file this way, how does it work? Is there a break even? What's the right way to go? We'll line it up and give you multiple options and things that you should think about, and then we'll give you our professional opinion. Again, all of our advisors are National Social Security Advisor certified. It's the only accredited Social Security designation in the country, and it's something that we're very proud to say that all of our advisors have it, but it's really just necessary. You can't accidentally become an expert in Social Security, and so you only want to work with someone for these types of decisions who has that level of education. Okay, Social Security law is about 2,600 pages, you know. Takes a little education and training and ongoing education to make sure that you stay on top of things. Now, the single biggest and most beneficial part of this analysis, the thing that really sets it apart, that is going to cause you to say, wow, I'm so glad I got this analysis. The thing that will cause you to do that is the retirement income, cash flow, and tax analysis portion of this Social Security analysis. This is a screen capture from a software tool that we constructed. It's called our Retirement Defender Screening Report. And it was very important to us to construct this because, well, I had a lot of clients who would ask me questions like, should I do a Roth conversion? Will it help me out? How about my taxes? Should I realize some capital gains? And frankly, I wasn't able to answer them. So don't ask me any questions I don't know how to answer. I spend a lot of money to figure it out. So this is a software tool that we constructed, and what it allows us to do is line by line analysis of your retirement income, cash flow, exactly how it's going to affect your taxes, How much are you subject to be paying on your Social Security? Are there any tax planning opportunities? For example, this couple is good to do a $42,350 Roth conversion. Notice it doesn't say $40,000 or $50,000 or $45,000. It's a very specific number, $42,350. Pinpoint accuracy is required when you're going to do tax planning. You don't mess with the IRS. Okay, so we've got to do pinpoint level accuracy in our planning, and this software tool allows us to do it, and we offer you the ability to see it and take advantage of that enhancement to your analysis. We'll also evaluate the effectiveness of the strategies that we work on for you. If we do Roth conversions, does it make any difference? Well, this couple got an extra $700,000 of Roth accounts if they do these Roth conversions. Is that meaningful to them? Well, they wanted to pass some money on to their kids, so you bet. Okay. Also save them in lifetime taxes. So even if they didn't want to pass money to their kids, they save money for them over their lifetime in taxes. So this is another part of that analysis that we'll do for you. Obviously, if you want to know that if you pay more taxes now, is it going to help you in the long run? And we'll evaluate that for you. Okay. If you feel that an analysis like that could be helpful to you, you're going to go to the same website that you go to request your workbook. Sendworkbook.com is where you want to go to request your Social Security filing workbook. It's a physical copy. We are going to put it in the mail and send it to you. Also, we will make available to you the ability to request. You just say, there's a little spot where you say, yes, I'd like to take advantage of my free Social Security analysis. If you say yes to that, and you also say, yes, I'd like to coordinate my Social Security with my retirement accounts or savings accounts, or you say, yes, I need to do tax planning about my Social Security. There's a couple options there. If you say yes to either one, it will put you in a position where you will be able to get that enhancement to your Social Security analysis as well, where we'll do the cash flow and tax planning also. If you say yes to all that, then there's also another option as you're filling out your form at sendworkbook.com where you can then also request our Retirement Defender screening report. Retirement Defender is our proprietary retirement planning process. This retirement planning process begins with an evaluation of the 7 critical areas that we believe a retiree should sort of have ready to go prior to retiring. So whether you have already done that or you're not yet retired and you're gearing up for it and you want to make sure that you've taken care of things, or if you're already in retirement and you need to do a check-in, hey, did I do everything I was supposed to? This analysis will help you evaluate that. That Retirement Defender screening report is also complimentary to you, but I just want you to know that if you say, yes, I'd like that, we're going to be really digging in with you and making sure, hey, we need to evaluate. We need to make sure that we provide a very good, high-quality report to you. We're trying to put our best foot forward, okay? Because, again, as a sample, what we're really saying here is that we'd like the possibility to earn the right, or maybe I should say the privilege or the honor, to serve you with other retirement planning or investing needs that you may have. So while everything so far has been free, eventually you would have to pay us to continue to work for you. So here's what that will look like. If you get to the point where you're past all the free stuff and you get into a position where it's like, okay, here's what we have offered to you, and you say, hey, that's pretty great, we really like this, and now we're saying, well, what else can we assist with? Do we need to help you with some investment planning or some additional retirement planning needs that you have? Then we will be talking about how to hire us to work for you. There are 2 primary ways that our clients hire us to work for you. Number 1, if you would like us to do planning only, no investment management, just planning only, you can hire us for that. We work on an hourly rate, and the hourly rate and how many hours will depend on the person that you're working with. Their level of expertise and experience will determine what that hourly rate will look like. The second way that to hire us, and the way that I'd say that probably the majority of our clients hire us, is they do have investment planning needs, and they say, gosh, I need someone who's really an expert in this retirement planning stuff to help me get my investments together so that I'm good for the rest of my life. If we are hired in that capacity, we work on investment advisory fees, and we're happy to disclose and discuss those investment advisory fees with you. To not be dodgy about this, our investment advisory fees typically are less than half of the national average. National average is about 1.46%, so I think you'll find our fees to be very reasonable. But it kind of depends on the type of investing that we're doing. Are we doing strategic asset allocation or some tactical asset management? Are we using advanced planning through algorithms? Are we just doing some simplified investment management with bonds or something like that? So the fees can vary, but it's really going to be based on the level of complexity for your investing. Also can depend on the size of your accounts as well. Okay, so couple of other quick points, and then I'm going to start answering questions. Okay, so get your questions into the chat and comment section. I'll start highlighting those and answering those now. But before I do that, a couple of other quick things. One is you can go to sendworkbook.com, open a new browser tab, fill that out. I'll still be here. You know, maybe do it on your phone if you're watching me on another device or whatever. But make sure you do request that workbook. We want to get that to you. The second thing is that we are a fiduciary firm. So I need to be very transparent with you about a couple of things real quick. Number one, at one time, City Center Financial and Einstein Retirement Workshops were two separate entities. Today, that is not the case. My firm, City Center Financial, acquired Einstein Retirement Workshops, that brand, and we now own and operate the Einstein Retirement Workshops brand, okay? So just want to be very clear about that. All of the advisors that you would interact with through our firm are going to be fully licensed, certified, personally trained by me, National Social Security advisors, fiduciaries, okay, everybody, okay, without an exception. No exceptions at all to that. Okay, it's a requirement of our company. Okay, the second the thing about that is it doesn't matter where you are, okay? We are licensed to assist people with this analysis process across the country. Doesn't matter your location, we can assist you. We will be on Zoom. We are very comfortable and accustomed to working technologically in this new day and age, and we think that you'll have a great experience with that. Our advisors are all very comfortable and used to working in that Zoom capacity. We'll be on video. Whether you're on video is completely optional, it's up to you, but we will be on video and you will be able to see us face to face. Okay, I think I covered everything there. I'm going to start answering questions at any time. Go to sendworkbook.com and we're happy to do that. All right. Jennifer Farron says, I'm 61. My husband is getting Social Security disability. I had to forcibly retire to take care of him. Can I file for Social Security at 62? The answer is yes. As I say, he is in 65. Oh, he's turning 65 in August. So he will be converting from disability. Well, no, not at 65. Regular retirement is going to hit at his full retirement age, which is probably 66 in a couple of months. I'm not sure what the question is. Yeah, you don't want to Google sendworkbook.com. Just go directly to sendworkbook.com, Joseph. I don't know if you need, if there's a particular question there, Jennifer, I'm sorry. But yes, you can file at 62. Isabel says, will there be a replay? Possibly, sometimes we do that. Also, this will stay up for about 12 hours, so you'll have another, you can watch it back. Okay, Kathy Linsky says, will I always need to have my Social Security reduced because I work as a teacher, PRA? So probably. I thought if I waited to file Social Security at a certain age, I would not have Social Security reduced. Yeah, so it's not based on your age of filing, it's based on how many years of substantial earnings you have outside of the para system, okay? So the answer is it depends on if you go and get employment outside of your job as a teacher. If you hit enough years of substantial earnings, then Social Security won't be reduced. Or you can petition your congressperson and try to get them to pass that law where they eliminate the windfall elimination provision. Okay, great, Lynn. Yeah, Joseph, so you see Lynn, she just went to sendworkbook.com. Okay, Kathy Moore says, is this presentation going to be available again? Would really like my husband to be able to see this as well. Very informative. Oh, great. Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate the compliment. Yeah, just it'll be available for about roughly 12 hours, I would say. So he should be able to watch it for a little while yet. The other thing that you can do is just, we do this weekly. So you're welcome to have him attend next week. Great, Mary. Good, good. You're welcome, Kathy. Okay, our Brinkley 22 says, if I made more than my ex, is it true that I can't draw on his, but he can draw from mine? Yes, that's true, our Brinkley. That's correct. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, Sheila Costello says, I'd like to discuss with you about Social Security disability and gift IRAs. Well, technically there's no such thing as a gift IRA. I don't know if you mean like an inherited IRA potentially, but if you have a question, Sheila, feel free, type it out. We'd be happy to do that, answer it for you. You're welcome, Jaritha. Thanks for being here. Zarina says, I'm 69, still working full-time. Taking ex-spousal benefits starting at 66. Will it reduce my Social Security when I hit 70 this year? No, it shouldn't. So you probably, unless this doesn't apply, you probably just want to switch to your own benefit at 70, which will get you actually more money. Okay, so I hope so. Okay, Harlan Harris says, you're phenomenal. Okay, too much compliments. Okay. Good. Great delivery. Thank you for a huge. Thank you from a huge Costco supporter customer. Okay, all right, good. All right, thank you for the compliment, Harlan. Appreciate that. Okay, you're welcome, Victoria. Again, at any time, you can go to sendworkbook.com, get your workbook. Happy to mail you a physical copy of that. Also, if you're going to take advantage of the analysis, we're honored to provide that to you. Happy to do that as well. Okay, Jennifer says, I think I heard you say somewhere in your presentation that you could have taken Social Security from your wife. Should I have been doing that for my husband's Social Security disability since I had to quit work? Well, okay, it depends on if you were born before January 2nd of 1954 and your own work history benefit is less than his. So the two things for that to apply for you is either you need to be born before January 2nd of 1954 or your own work history provides a smaller benefit than 50% of your spouse's. Hope that helps. Okay, Lisa Ann says, hi, collecting partial pension from a divorce. Now remarried and 2 years from age 62. Will my Social Security be reduced based on the pension? Probably not, Lisa. Is the pension a non-covered pension? That would be the question. If it is, then possibly, but otherwise probably not. Okay. Rev Raphael asks, my wife is still on disability. She is 64. Or is on disability. She's 64. I'm planning to retire next January, 1 year early due to a medical issue at the age of 65 and 4 months instead of 66 and 4 months. Will my wife's disability income be affected? The answer is no. No, it will not. Okay, Isabel's asking, if I decide to get the book only first, can I decide to get the analysis later on? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, of course, right? It's totally fine. Yep, you can request it later. Okay. Marie Wilson is asking, I receive spousal benefits. Will I be able to still file on my own Social Security at what age? So assuming you were born before January 2nd of 1954, then at 70. Okay, at 70 you'll be able to switch. Well, you could switch at any time, but at 70 you've maxed out your benefit. Good, thank you, Zerina. Okay, Lori's saying, thank you for your time. Well done. I will get the workbook and we'll consider moving forward. Okay, great, Lori. Yep, no problem. Cindy says, I'm not yet ready for an evaluation, but will want one in the future. Should I not request the second and third free offers? Thank you for sharing your expertise. Yeah, I mean, if you're not ready for an evaluation, you're not going to want to request the free offers. I would say there's probably no time that's too early to start planning, but you know, this is you're driving the ship. I mean, we're here to be helpful. We're not going anywhere. So we'd be happy to interact with you whenever you're ready, Cindy. Okay, Carol Maddox says, I'm 63 and not drawing, but want to since my work has not come back since COVID. Okay, got that. I am thinking of starting e-commerce. And what if in 2 to 3 years I hit it big time? I guess I just hire you. Carol, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, you probably are going to want to suspend Social Security benefits if that occurs. Okay. Ann Teal says, thank you very much. The presentation was helpful. Good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sue. It's a complex issue, a little less confusing now, just a little less. Okay. Well, Sue, we'd love to have you at future events. Hope this is helpful. Okay. You're welcome, Mark. Thank you. Just booked an appointment with Taylor for night. Oh, good. Taylor's very good. Yeah. He's got a little bit of the sarcasm humor, so hope you enjoyed that part because Taylor does have that. But good, Mark. I know you'll enjoy Taylor. Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you, Rev. Okay, Sheila says, yes, inherited IRA. I received one in 2020. Okay, yep. It's non-qualified. And an inherited IRA would not be non-qualified. So, okay, so the one that you're inheriting this year is actually an inherited IRA. The non-qualified, typically you're going to just get the cash. The taxes will have already been paid by the estate. What's the best thing to do? I'm 61 and on Social Security disability. Well, you're going to have to plan out those taxes. I do hope you're getting the analysis because we can help you sort that out. But it depends on how much we're talking about. Inherited IRAs now have a 10-year rule, but you don't have to take money every year. You can do it on your own timetable. So hopefully we can assist you, Sheila, in making some good decisions there. Okay, Liz Green says, I receive spousal benefits. I plan to get my own soon. Is it 70 or 70 and a half that I have to wait? Yeah, just 70. 70 and a half used to be the old RMD age. That's gone now. No more 70 and a half. I love the 70 and a half because I used to talk about this wonderful magical age, okay? And now I say 72. Let's just, that doesn't sound, 70 and a half was more magical. So, yeah, not 70 and a half anymore. Okay, great. Thanks, Sheila. Vanessa says, my husband filed at 62 due to health reasons. I plan to work until my full retirement age, 66 in 10 months. Will either of our benefits be affected? Shouldn't be, Vanessa. Nothing about what you're saying is giving me any red flags. Okay, Lori T says, one other comment, is there a place to learn more about your investment strategies and how they compare to other firms? We're working on that actively right now, Lori, to learn up front, I don't have anything good other than you could go to citycenterfinancial.com and you go to our retirement planning page. It's one of our drop downs. If you go there, you'll learn a little bit more about our firm. And then at the very bottom, well, at least towards the very bottom, we do publish a rising equity glide path and a research article from the Journal of Financial Planning. I would say that is one thing that makes us very unique in our investing strategies, that would cause us to be, say, different than your average firm. And that is because the research is settled, at least for now, on what is the most effective way to increase your success outcomes in retirement, and that is by following the rising equity glide path. So the fact that more firms have not adopted this is concerning to us, but we're not going to let that affect our decisions. We're going to follow the research. So you could read about that there on our website, again, citycenterfinancial.com. Okay. Kathy Moore says, when one does wish to request the analysis and consultations with you folks, do any of you address issues with special needs children? Yeah, so it's something that obviously we don't talk a ton about here, but it is something that we've dealt with clients. You know, special needs children, there is some specified planning that needs to be done, especially when it comes to inheritance and trust planning, and so it's a very big deal, okay? So I would say it's something that I mean, I guess I should be grateful that it's not super common, but it's not something that we've never dealt with, okay? We have clients who are in that situation. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate that. Oh, good, Dana. Okay. Just got an appointment with Stanley. Yeah, he's very good. You'll enjoy him. He's one of our newer advisors, but he's very competent, very good. Gay says, if my husband begins Social Security at 62, it's only $500 a month. When I retire at full age, my income is $2,000. Should we look into him for changing to the spousal provision? Yes, except he probably won't have to change. Technically, it's supposed to happen automatically, but it's a good idea to just make sure when you file for your benefit to make sure he gets his increase. But it is supposed to happen automatically. Oh, okay. Oh, that's my tech team. It's trying to make me feel good, I guess. Okay. Debbie, do you have a similar presentation for Medicare? No, not yet, Debbie. It's something we've thought about doing. It's probably wise for us to do, but there's some extra rules around doing presentations on Medicare that we have to sort through. Medicare is very highly regulated, so we have to be mindful. Okay. Katrina is saying, would you repeat the Social Security website for reviewing our earnings? Yeah, really simple. Just SSA. Okay, so Sam, Apple.com, SSA.com. And then you just want to click the My Social Security tab or section, and it'll take you through a process. You just sign right up. Okay, Leona D says, I make 71 this November. When do I need to take an RMD? At 72. Okay, at 72, Leona. What do I need to do and how to get things in motion? Well, at the end of this year, you will have your balances, whatever your balances are on 12/31 of this year. That is the number that you need to use to calculate your required minimum distributions. Your financial advisor or your custodian of your fund should be able to give you the specifics. Okay, Pamela Carper says, I will collect deceased X benefits. There's an $80 difference between retiring at 65 versus 66 in 10 months. Is it worth it to wait for the $80? Depends on if you're going to switch to age 70. Probably not. Probably. It's a big old probably. If you're getting the analysis, we could tell you for sure. But, you know, it's going to depend on your other planning needs, taxes, all of that good stuff. Oh, great, Vanessa. Meeting with Taylor on Monday. Good. Okay, great, Pamela. Good. Yep, that'll be great. All right, Rev. Thanks for attending. ssa.gov. Did I say .com? If I said .com, I'm horribly sorry. ssa.gov. If I was saying .com, I'm losing my mind, or I'm just tired. I am a little tired. But ssa.gov, G-O-V, exactly right. ssa.gov, correct. Okay, thank you, Pamela. Thanks, Katrina. Okay, all right, if you haven't already, go to sendworkbook.com. Request your free workbook. We want to get that to you. If the analysis will be helpful to you, we'd love to get those to you as well. With that, we'll sign off for today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow our Facebook page. We'd love to interact with you at future events. We have a daily podcast. We'd love to see you there as well. And with that, we'll sign off for today. Have a good night, everyone.